Hey guys, how's it going? Muthurajah here, back with a new video lesson for you all. Before I get to the lesson, if this is your first time on the channel or if you haven't already subscribed, I invite you to subscribe to the channel to keep yourselves updated with lessons and doodles and all that jazz. Anyway, in today's lesson we're going to talk about phrasing. 3 simple and effective ways to develop your phrasing. Now, phrasing is something that musicians of different calibers struggle with because essentially it involves taking everything you know and trying to put them together, whether it's composition or improvisation or just playing your parts in a band or whatever it is. Essentially you need to put it all together, and that's what phrasing does. It just glues everything together. Now, just like in language, you have words, you use words to form sentences. Sentences make paragraphs. Paragraphs can make an essay or a novel or a fiction thriller book or whatever you want it to depict. So you cannot approach writing, let's say, a novel the same way you would approach writing poetry, because the choice of words, the phrasing of the words changes. So similarly in music, you have 12 notes essentially, not counting the octaves of course, but how you combine them and how you use them with the articulation, the context of the gig and all that stuff really affects the overall sound of the gig, and that is why phrasing is extremely important. So I'm going to share with you 3 simple tips to help you develop this. Okay, the first one is to sing along whatever you play, and I don't mean like in perfect tune. What I mean is, let's say if I take a song like Rock With You by Michael Jackson, right? Now, right off the back of my head, I'm sure some of you might be confused. Why am I playing chords? Why am I comping? Well, phrasing is not exclusive to just melodies. Phrasing is applicable to melody, harmony, and rhythm, the 3 elements of music. It's applicable everywhere and has to be practiced everywhere too. So when I was playing that, not out loud, but in my mind, the vocal melody is in my head, and I'm just generally trying to breathe along with it. So I just try to sing. So that's why I'm able to do these rhythmic displacements as I please, because I'm constantly singing and trying to breathe with it, right? So whether it's chords, whether it's a groove on the drums, or whether it's a bass line, whatever, hum with it. Like many cats do this. I know Yannick Gusdala does this a lot. But personally, I wouldn't like to do this out loud on a gig. But when I'm practicing at home, I generally do this a lot. Like if I'm practicing melodies. I was just playing whatever, but I'm just singing along with it. I'm not trying to be conscious of playing what I sing or am I singing what I'm playing. No, no, no. This is just to get you started, because if you take horn players or woodwind players, they breathe by default with all their notes, so all their notes sound smooth. Even a very bad saxophone player doesn't sound too bad because the note has air to it. But for general instruments like guitar, piano, bass, drums, we struggle with it because we don't actually have to breathe to play. So sing along. Doesn't matter if you're in tune or whatever. The idea is just to sing and let the air flow through the ideas. Now the second thing I want to talk about is something that I've never seen anybody talk about, so this is going to be interesting, and that is avoid using backing tracks to practice all the time. You ever find yourself struggling playing a groove without a drummer? And not just groove, like just anything without a drummer. And the reason is because you practice with loops or you play with drummers often, that you forget to develop your sense of time and then your sense of phrasing, because you cannot phrase right without a drummer. That means something is absolutely wrong. So if I'm playing, again, if I'm doing something like, now if I take away this, that slap thing, it's hard because I don't have this groove reference, and then how will you phrase in that context? So what happens with backing tracks is that you get comfortable because a backing track never makes a mistake. It's in perfect time, the parts are always consistent, so you get used to that. And when you play with the band, we are human, so there can be mistakes or there can be dynamic changes which is not there in a backing track all the time. So a dynamic change will push you. So if you're playing swing and if the guys in the band are really pushing the vibe dynamically, but you're so used to playing with a backing track where your eighth notes are very, but then if they're pushing and you need to like open up, right? So you need to start pushing the ideas even more because it's live. That's why live music is called live music. If not, people will just be listening to records. You go and experience live music and the sound and everything is sonically driven, but then the phrasing live is also something that's very important to pay attention to. All right, so what I do is when I practice melodies or chords or voicings and stuff like that, I like to practice without a backing track, take my time, find sounds, just I like that. Right? Take my time and just try to find ideas and then sit with the backing track, whatever you want to do, play along or playing with the record. Just try to find your voice in the phrasing context, and then sit down with tracks. Okay, now the third thing is to play what you sing. Okay, now sing an idea and try to find it. So if I do something like okay, okay, more than often, what happens is that when you play and sing all the time your ideas in an improvised context, you end up singing what you're playing, and then you just enter this autopilot mode, which is not fun. So what I suggest is using the first 2 points. Take your time, find melodies, constantly breathe and vocalize with it, and then stand alone, just try to sing an idea and find the notes, and then just do this bit by bit every day for like an hour, and it'll really help you a lot. All right, so I hope you guys get something out of this. Again, do subscribe to my channel, check out my website, check out my books, and check out everything else that I'm up to. And until the next one, I'll see you guys in the shed. Peace.